Now, I'd like to introduce Debbie Feinstein, who is the Assistant State's Attorney for Montgomery County for the past 21 years. In 2012, she became the Chief of the Special Victims Division, where she is responsible for supervising and prosecuting cases involving homicide, child abuse, domestic violence, elder abuse, human trafficking, and sexual assault. In 2014, State's Attorney John McCarthy formed the Crimes Against Seniors and Vulnerable Adults Unit, merging the office's prosecution of abuse and financial exploitation against seniors, and named Debbie Feinstein and Brian Roslin as co-chiefs. Debbie currently chairs the Montgomery County Elder Vulnerable Adult Abuse Task Force, a multidisciplinary team that coordinates investigation, prosecution, education, and prevention efforts in our community. And actually, it is this task force that is hosting these senior safety events this week. Debbie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mario. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you virtually. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce my boss, State's Attorney John McCarthy. As Mario mentioned, John had the foresight many years ago to recognize our growing, the fact that our population in Montgomery County was growing with respect to seniors. And I'll speak a little bit more about this during the part of my presentation, but his foresight led to us starting our Crimes Against Seniors and Vulnerable Adults Unit, again, about 7 years ago. And he kind of saw into the future. And that kind of vision is emblematic of his service as State's Attorney. And it is really my pleasure to introduce him to share a few words with you this morning.
Debbie, thank you very much for that gracious introduction. I want to welcome anyone who is with us today to World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. I cannot believe that this is our 11th program of this type. I'm honored to be here, and I've been at every one of the 11 events we've had throughout the 11 years that we've held this celebration, this annual event here in Montgomery County. We've got lots of partners. I'm very proud of the work my office does. We have lots of partners. Some of them you're going to meet today, or you know, because of their work. Mario, you have been fantastic. Cheryl, Lucille, everyone who's here joining this call today, that's going to help in today's presentation. It's a take a village kind of a approach we take to this, and I want to thank all of the partners that joined together with the State's Attorney's Office to help perform this vital mission. I also want to acknowledge my staff. Listen, I listened very carefully to Debbie's introduction by Mario, and quite candidly, as you listen to what she does for this community, you realize that I have a pretty outstanding head of my Special Victims Unit here in the State's Attorney's Office, who's a leader who's recognized not only in Montgomery County, but around the state for what she does for seniors and for protecting our children. I also tell you the other head of the unit who's not speaking here today, but I know he's with us, is Brian Roslin, who heads up the economic crime portion of our protections designed to protect seniors in our community. A little bit later in the presentation, I'm going to show you a story about a case that Brian just completed last week. I'm also proud, and Mario mentioned that Dina Rivera did a presentation on Monday for Spanish speakers here in Montgomery County to rave reviews, and I'm really thankful not only to my team leaders, but all the members of the teams that work for Debbie and Brian, like Dina, that go out and try to educate people in the community about how they can protect themselves against being victims of crimes. Look, we have some basic facts, and unfortunately, I say these things every year. I talk about some of these facts before, but when Debbie says I had the foresight to do this, well, first of all, I'm in that senior community, so you are amongst friends when you're with me. I am a member of the senior community. I wasn't when I started this, but I know that 17,000 Americans turn 65 every year, every day, 17,000 every day. I know that we are rapidly approaching nearly 250,000 individuals living just in our own county over the age of 65. We also understand that only about 4% of the cases that come to the attention of law enforcement or public officials come to their attention because the senior raises their hand and comes forward. So this is really a community challenge. This is a call that goes out not only to seniors to protect themselves, but to people who love seniors and are caring for seniors to help us protect those individuals. Pride has been traditionally a big barrier towards us getting individuals to report that they have been victims of crimes. We're hoping to educate people beyond that and being willing to come forward when they in fact do need help. We are prosecuting both physical and financial crimes, but I will tell you, and the reason I'm here today, I really think one of the primary jobs of being state's attorney is to be an educator in a community. And for those of you who are in the senior community joining us today, you may have seen me at Oasis, where I've been a lecturer for over 25 years. You might see me at OSHA at Johns Hopkins, where I've been doing it for 20 years. You may have seen me at Leisure World, Asbury, Ingleside, or various community forums. I have literally done hundreds of these presentations, not by myself, along with community partners like Sid Katz from the County Council, Andrew Friedson from the County Council, Sheriff Darren Popkin, who often accompanies me at Oasis and OSHA, and many of you, I hope, were formerly our students there. Look, my favorite number in terms of prosecuting crimes is 0. What do I mean by that? I really don't want there to be another crime to prosecute. I don't want there to be another victim. And I think education is the key to achieving that magic number of 0. I want to share, and I'm going to ask Anthony Daglio, who works with me, is now going to share with us a video about a story that happened just last week in Montgomery County. And then I'm going to say a few things about that and some of the warning signs that were in this case that can help our listeners today. Anthony, if you'd share the video.
Helen Nutt worked hard and saved her money. The widow, who had worked as a church secretary, built a substantial nest egg.
She died at 91, but she invested well and she saved. She made her money the old-fashioned way. She worked and saved it.
But prosecutors say she was swindled out of her hard-earned money by this man, Jonathan Robbins, an attorney and CPA. They say she asked him for help in setting up trust and estate documents.
But he ultimately put himself in control of everything with no oversight, no second eyes, no third eyes, nobody else. There was no check, no balance.
Prosecutors say a Montgomery County jury found Robbins guilty on several financial crimes charges. They say he took $1.8 million over the course of several years. An oversight agency and financial institutions noticed something was wrong and blew the whistle.
Wrote checks to himself, endorsed the checks himself, and then deposited them in his own account. Sometimes it was in smaller amounts, 20, 30,000. I think the largest check is somewhere around $300,000.
Prosecutors say Nutt died at the age of 91 before the trial happened. They presented some 300 exhibits, including photos showing the modest home Robbins lived in before he met Nutt, then the 6,600 square foot home he moved into.
He was surviving, living in a townhouse. Well, when this trial took place, and you're going to see pictures of it, he moved into a mansion on Miss Nutt's dime. And he was living a high life.
Prosecutors described Nutt as the perfect victim. She was trusting, had lots of money, had no family close by to watch out for her, and suffered from dementia. After he was convicted, the judge revoked his bond. He's in jail now awaiting his September sentencing. He faces up to 45 years in prison. In Rockville, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
Just awful. We reached out to the public defender who said, I need to speak to Mr. Robbins before commenting and won't be able to do so until next week. Prosecutors say the lesson here, don't put your trust in one person to handle your financial affairs. And of course, check on your older loved ones to make sure everything is okay.
Helen Nutt worked hard and...
Okay, I think that summary at the end of the report was really it. When it comes to your finances, make sure you have more than one person overseeing your finances. Mrs. Nutt's situation was her husband predeceased her. Then she began to rely upon an adult son. Her son died. And then she turned to an attorney who drew up estate documents, but he put himself in charge of everything. There was no second set of eyes or third set of eyes to look at it. So if there's a lesson here, again, make sure that you find a trusted person to draft your estate documents and make sure that One person alone does not control all of your financial assets. This was a marvelous woman, as pointed out in the story. Look, she worked for a church, and as I said, she made her money the old way. She earned it, pennies or dimes at a time, and saved it, invested well. And she had a sizable estate when she died. But this gentleman stole $1.8 million from her, taking advantage of her and controlling it. So there's a word for it. Look, we have goals for today. We are going to talk to you about strategies. I know Debbie's going to do this, and she has a wonderful presentation you're going to hear immediately after I'm done. She's going to talk about strategies for keeping you safe. She's going to talk to you about the community resources that are available to you. And you live in a great community, where there are resources that are available for multiple agencies, both public and private. We're going to try to talk to you about the red flags that you should look for in trying to determine when people are being abused. And I will tell you, and Debbie and I have talked about this a lot, and in my office, we are particularly concerned about COVID, because what happens when it comes to abuse of seniors, the isolation that we came through for about a year, 18 months with COVID, it's just ripe for individuals to take advantage of our seniors, because they're those second set of eyes, those third set of eyes, the people that love you and the community that looks after you as a senior. And we look after ourselves too, but they're not there. So again, in conclusion, today's about education. It's about self-prevention. It's about keys to meet the challenge. Because look, unfortunately, in the job I have, there are people out there that will take advantage of you through either physical or physical abuse or neglect, or financial exploitation. The message for the seniors is protect yourself. The message for everybody else is, if you love a senior, care for a senior, help protect seniors, and learn some of the lessons that we're going to go through today. Again, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having us. I don't know if there are any questions for me, and I know that Debbie's presentation is far more extensive than myself, but Lucille, if there's questions, I'll take them. If not, I'm going to yield back to my fabulous head of team leader, Debbie Feinstein.
So we have one question, and perhaps either you or Debbie could answer it. One of our attendees asked if you could repeat the contact number to access trainings. She wanted to share that with her church community. So a phone number was given earlier in the presentation, or a website.
So I'm going to suggest that you go to the State's Attorney's Office website, or just to dial 240-777-7300 and ask for me or for Kelly Davis. Actually, let me correct that. Ask for Kelly Davis. And she is the day-to-day sort of director of our CASVA, our Crimes Against Seniors and Vulnerable Adults Unit. And she would be able to facilitate any training that you're looking for on a variety of topics related to elder abuse, prevention, and education. And we're happy to come virtually, eventually in person. And again, she really has a catalog of different topics that we can cover and come to you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
John, thank you for your presentation and the video clip. And Debbie, this opportunity, here's your chance to please present your material. We're looking forward to it. And we'll check in with questions when you're done. Thanks.
Hey, thank you so much, Mario. And feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A, please, as I'm speaking. And I'm happy to, Lucille or Mario, just if you want to just check in and ask the question during the course of my presentation, I'm definitely happy to make this more interactive and to answer questions as they come up while we're having this conversation this morning. It's my pleasure to talk to you specifically about combating elder abuse through community connections. One of the sort of recent lessons around elder abuse prevention has been the importance of building community around yourself or around your loved one who is a senior It has been demonstrated and shown. There are many articles that discuss this, and I have some of the citations at the end of my presentation, actually, and I'm happy to provide this presentation to anyone that would like a copy, that really talk about the importance of that community around you. And this really, it doesn't just apply to seniors, it really applies to all of us, but in particular, it's been studied with respect to seniors, and how that serves as a protective measure and a guard against elder abuse. You know, reflecting back to the conversation that John had with you a few minutes ago with the victim in that, you know, terrible financial exploitation case where she lost so much of her life savings. She had gotten to a place in her life where many of her friends had passed away, where her son had passed away, her husband had passed away, and she was, you know, getting into her 90s, and it, you know, she really was in many ways isolated and relied on this lawyer, this person that she thought that she could trust, and who ultimately exploited her. And we're going to talk a little bit today about sort of other places that people can look, other ways to seek support and to build community, even in your 90s, and to try to create some of those protective measures. John spoke before about the fact that our population is growing in terms of our senior population in this country. 1 out of every 7 people in the United States is over 65. By 2050, our population of age 65 and over is projected to be at 83.7 million, which is double the size of our current senior population. And in 2020, people age 65 and over outnumbered children under the age of 5. This was for the first time in our history that seniors outnumbered our smallest children. So we're outpacing, I guess, the birth rate, essentially, is what these numbers are telling us. In Maryland, the population of over 65 has grown about 27% over the last 10 years, while the population under 65 has only grown by about 7%. This image that you're seeing in front of us has been something that we've been watching for years, this tsunami, this really explosion of our senior population, which is incredible in our county and in our state. And again, was sort of the impetus for John creating the Crimes Against Seniors and Vulnerable Adults Unit 7 years ago, to really focus in and hone in on the needs of our senior population, and to make sure that we were ready as a prosecutor's office to also address abuse and to go after those that would perpetrate abuse against our seniors in our community, to really try to prevent it by our community realizing we were going to be aggressive, and we were going to go forward, and we were going to seek out those that were victimizing vulnerable seniors. So what is elder abuse? I'm going to touch briefly on this today, and I would encourage you to tune in on Friday to our Red Flags of Abuse presentation. The same flyer and information and links that you chose to click on for today's presentation also has the links for Friday's presentation on the red flags of abuse. But just to frame our conversation today, elder abuse takes many different forms, and often a person that is being victimized in more than one way. We have physical abuse, which is sort of the most typical that one would think of, visible injuries, burns, hitting, pinching, smacking, that sort of a thing, punching, bones breaking, that sort of thing. That's more in the physical abuse category. The financial exploitation is actually the largest category of abuse and exploitation that we see in our county. And it's insidious and is often goes hand in hand with abuse and neglect, because it's to the abuser's advantage to have the person that they're exploiting decline. And we see that time and time again in the cases that we prosecute, where someone is, the caregiver or has become the caregiver. We had a case I remember several years ago where a neighbor ingratiated himself to another neighbor, a neighbor who was pretty isolated, didn't have a lot of family, ultimately, said, I'm going to be the one to help you out. I'm going to be the one to take care of you. And he let her decline. Her health, the state of her home were in a terrible state when a neighbor finally recognized what was going on. And at the same time, he was taking her checks. He'd become a signator for her. He had really just pushed his way into her life in a very insidious way, caused the neglect, which enabled him to further his financial exploitation. We also have sexual abuse, emotional abuse, technological abuse, taking advantage of someone online, developing relationships online where one person is taking advantage of the other. As John mentioned, elder abuse is incredibly unreported. Only 1 in every 24 cases of physical abuse or neglect are reported. 1 in 44 cases of financial exploitation are reported. And there's a sort of a general estimate around the amount of elder abuse that occurs every year in our senior population. Somewhere between 2 and 5 million seniors experience abuse per year. And as I mentioned before, often in multiple forms, and they go hand in hand. And this is, again, why our office, so I specialize sort of in the physical abuse and neglect and sexual abuse piece. My colleague Brian specializes in the financial exploitation. And our team, which is now, I think, seven individuals on our team, we have, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers that specialize in, and 8, including Brian and I, that specialize kind of in this overlapping hybrid between physical abuse and neglect and exploitation, so that we can address all of the issues related to accomplishing justice for someone that has been victimized. What is the impact of elder abuse? There's a huge financial loss. $2.9 billion is estimated a year. It's associated with increased rates of hospitalization, increased risk of death. Even modest abuse can result in a 300% higher risk of death, significantly higher levels of psychological distress. And what's interesting, and we've seen this in our cases, is that when someone realizes that they've been abused, the embarrassment, the shame that comes along with that often leads to an earlier death. It results in a higher level of mortality. And again, there are research studies that talk about this as well, that when someone realizes that they've been victimized, it's associated with their mortality because of the shame and the place that they believe that they kind of let themselves fall into, which is actually not the case at all. Someone that wants to perpetrate elder abuse is like I said, insidious, is good at it, essentially grooms the elder to trust them, grooms the senior to trust them and to weave their way into their lives. And this sort of relates back to our overall topic is, when one person, particularly someone, comes into someone's life that hasn't been in their life before, and gets that kind of level of trust, it is particularly important for us as community members, neighbors, family members to be on the lookout for that type of sort of relationship that seems to be very much about power and control, and someone kind of weaving their way into someone's life, pushing their way into someone's life in a way that they weren't there before, and trying to really take over and further isolate a senior or a vulnerable adult with the goal of perpetrating abuse. So who perpetrates elder abuse and exploitation? It can be men, it can be women, it can be anyone. It cuts across all racial, gender, socioeconomic levels. There is sort of no unique identifier to those that perpetrate elder abuse. In almost 60% of our cases, the perpetrator is a family member, and 2/3 of the perpetrators are adult children or spouses. So this tells us it's really important for all family members to look out for their other family members. If one family member in particular has sort of taken the lead, it's important not to sort of take a complete step away, but to stay engaged in the conversation around your senior member of your family's health, around your senior member of your family's finances, to make sure that everything is okay, that their living environment is okay, that their health is okay, and to be checking in on them regularly. Even if you are not the primary, it is important to continue to have other individuals support that family member so that it's never in the hands of just one person. As I've alluded to, and as I've mentioned, social support is really a key factor in terms of elder abuse prevention. Elder abuse is associated with low social support, and social support, even social support following the abuse, reduces the negative impact of past abuse. So, for example, someone realizes that they've been abused. As I mentioned, it's associated with higher rates of mortality. Even when they realize it, even after it's realized, having support surround that individual can reduce the negative impact of that abuse, can reduce that mortality rate, can help that individual feel supported, to help reduce that shame, that stigma that may be associated with being victimized. and it becomes critically important to their health and to their ability to feel safe and to be able to trust individuals again, is to surround them with support. And even following the abuse, that matters. And I keep mentioning this sort of shame and stigma. You know, one of the biggest barriers to reporting elder abuse is that shame and that embarrassment and that stigma. I can't tell you how many times we've seen individuals who, after they've suffered abuse, and as John mentioned, the victim in the case that we just got a successful prosecution, and she was a person who was very engaged and had been very engaged in the community, had had a very successful life, had been financially independent, had built up this life for herself, and even she was someone that was victimized. I remember having a case where we had someone who'd been a professor for many years and had to get a very successful career. We had an individual who had been a member of the State Department for many years in her career. Those two individuals, they both described the same thing after realizing that they had been financially exploited. They both remember saying they were so ashamed. They didn't even want to tell anyone after they began to realize what was going on, because they were embarrassed that they would be in a place where they would be taken advantage of. And what I would say, and what I've said to them, is there's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of. Elder abusers, people who take advantage of others, and this doesn't only apply to seniors, it applies to children and applies to domestic violence abusers. They are very skilled at taking advantage of others. And if you are taken advantage of, it is not because you are not intelligent, that you are not aware, that you have some sort of problem yourself. It's because the person is really good at what they're doing. And I would encourage you, spreading the message for those of you that are on this webinar this morning, to really help us diminish the stigma associated with elder abuse. That is the way that we are going to prevent elder abuse. If you realize that it's happening to you, if you realize that it's happening to others, bring it forward, tell your story. It helps prevent elder abuse. The most powerful conversations that we have are with those individuals that have been abused, realize they've been abused, bring that information forward, share it with the community, and say, look, this happens. This is not something to be ashamed of. This can happen to anyone. And only by recognizing that and addressing it head on can we prevent it together. And this, as I described a few moments ago, the positive impact of social support, the positive impact of community is seen in demographically diverse communities. This is across the board. It is not limited to certain communities. And as John mentioned before, and I think this is a really critically important piece, and particularly at this moment in time, as hopefully we are coming to the other side of the pandemic, the isolation that is associated, that has been associated with the pandemic has been devastating for many reasons. But particularly with respect to those that would take advantage of others and those who have been taken advantage of, because we've been physically isolated, and particularly for those that live alone, we've been physically isolated for safety and health reasons, and our methods of communication have changed as well. Individuals are not going to the bank, individuals are not interacting with their doctors, not interacting with maybe a mental health provider, not going to the senior center, not playing the interactive things that you may have done before. So my folks who are actually on this call, play mahjong, play poker, are in book clubs. All of that is turned virtual. And in virtual, you're not necessarily seeing what's happening behind closed doors. So asking the questions, asking your friends, are you doing okay? If you notice something that's different, someone that used to participate in something that is no longer participating, are you okay? Is everything going well? Can we meet outside to have lunch? Can we meet outside to take a walk? Can we meet outside to do whatever? And again, hopefully as things open up and our county is opening up, to do things together in person, inside as well, whatever your comfort level is, but to really rebuild those communities and to diminish that isolation and to reach out to those among us who we are concerned about and who may be even more isolated, particularly individuals that live alone. So I've mentioned a number of the ways that we can prevent elder abuse and exploitation. I'm going to mention a few others. In addition to sort of the community support, there's also individual things that you can do and that you can do for your family members, your loved ones, your community members. So taking care of your own health, being an active participant in your own health. And if it's something that you're not able to do on your own, to get that support of others to make sure that you're taking care of your health. To plan for your future, make sure you have a power of attorney with someone that is a trusted individual or a living will. To seek independent advice from someone that you trust before signing any document. So going back again to the example, the case that we just prosecuted, it would have been wonderful had the victim in that case had someone else review what her lawyer, Mr. Robbins, was doing. And it seems kind of counterintuitive, right? You go to this lawyer, you go to this trusted adult, this trusted person, this other person that you're, supposed to rely on. But it's important to sort of do that double check. And again, as things are opening, you can utilize resources at your senior center. They're also available virtually to talk to someone there, to connect to other resources that can be helpful. And if you have concerns, if you're worried that someone is taking advantage of someone else, you can call my office. Call the state's attorney's office. We will have a conversation with you. We can refer you to additional resources. Call Adult Protective Services. If you have concerns that something is going on with yourself, with someone else, err on the side of calling, err on the side of asking the questions and getting others to help you. I don't think it's too much to say that Adult Protective Services and the members of my team at the state's attorney's office are individuals that you can trust, that you can reach out to, and that we can be a sense of support as well if you have questions, and we can refer you to additional resources in the community. We also have in our community, we're very fortunate to have, and I noticed on the participant list, we have representatives from ElderSafe, which is an incredible resource in our community, which is through the Charles Smith Life Communities, which also is a whole center focused on diminishing and preventing elder abuse, and has a whole host of additional resources. And you can call them as well to get support, to ask the questions. Stay active in your community, connected with friends and family to reduce social isolation. I've been watching the announcements that are coming out from Montgomery County. Our senior centers are opening, our rec centers are opening, classes are coming back in person to take and to engage with the community. That is a protective measure, as I keep saying, that community engagement, that community involvement, and also asking the questions and supporting each other when you're at one of these events, and checking in on your friends and checking in on your neighbors. Post and open your own mail. Don't rely on someone else to open your mail for you. And if you're concerned about your ability to review your mail yourself, again, establishing relationships of trust with more than one person to assist you in that regard. Never, never give personal information over the phone. Use direct deposit for checks to the extent that you're able to, and seek help to set that up if you need help to set up direct deposit for your check, so that it's never going through the hands of someone else, that it's going directly into your account. Review your will periodically. Keep your will in a safety deposit box. I know there aren't that many of them, or in a safety box in your own home that you can lock, that you can give a separate key to a trusted person, and make sure that everything is up to date, and that the right people are in that will, and that information is up to date. And I would note on that as well that, if you have a friend or a neighbor that recently updated their will, and it seems a little concerning, talk to them about it. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. And I can't say that enough. How else can we prevent elder abuse and exploitation? Learning the signs. Again, I would encourage you to tune in on Friday. But if something just seems off to you, something seems strange, someone's ingratiating themselves in someone's life, that wasn't there before. Those are some of the signs that we see most often. And someone sort of isolating themselves, or not wanting to be seen because they're suffering from physical abuse or neglect, disengaging from those social groups that they may have participated in before. Asking your bank manager to train tellers on how to detect financial abuse. Asking your doctor to ask you and all senior patients about possible family violence or exploitation in your life or in the lives of their patients. Making sure that people are aware that this is an issue. I often say that, we've We've done a decent job, still a lot of work to be done in the area of intimate partner violence, domestic violence, where those questions are being more routinely asked by medical care professionals. But elder abuse is something that we're still wrapping our arms around. We're still trying to get the word out about how prevalent it is so that we can have doctors, mental health professionals, others really look for the signs and ask the right questions. And I would encourage you to ask your doctor to get engaged on these issues. Ask your doctor to check out our webinars, to check out our websites. And we reach out to them as well, obviously, in our education and prevention efforts, but you can be our partner in that as well. Asking your religious or congregational leader to give a talk about elder abuse or to put information in a newsletter. Invite us, invite the state's attorney's office, invite Elder Safe, invite Adult Protective Services or other resources in the community to come talk to your religious organization, your community group, depending on where you live, at a senior center or a senior residential community. Help publicize events like World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Check out our flyer, forward our flyer even before Friday to get individuals to join us for that Red Flags of Abuse presentation on Friday. And I'm actually going to ask one of my colleagues on here to put in the chat that to all of our attendees today, that link to sign up for Friday's event to make it super easy for everyone on this conversation today. So what else can we do to prevent elder abuse and exploitation? I want to tell you a little bit more about what the state's attorney's office and our partners do. We work hard to do educational events like we're doing today, but an important part of that is also an important piece of prevention is collaborating. There was a time years ago where we kind of, as your county government individuals engaged in this space, kind of operated in silos, operated separately in the work that we were doing and in the cases that we were handling. And we started a number of years ago to collaborate, to meet regularly, to discuss cases of concern that came in, to talk about collaborative solutions that we could each take a part in. To help remove barriers, to have this open dialogue with each other and open dialogue with the community, and also to work together to reduce the stigma. Our elder abuse task force includes the state's attorney's office, the police department, who are a close partner. My division of the state's attorney's office, our special victims division, is actually co-located with the detectives that investigate elder abuse in our community, so that we are talking on a regular basis about these cases, collaborating about these cases, learning about these cases in real time. I mentioned Kelly Davis before, and John mentioned Dina Rivera, our team that literally reviews every day cases that come into Adult Protective Services to determine if there are additional measures that our state's attorney's office can take, additional things that we can investigate, that we can work with the police to investigate. Our county attorney's office, we collaborate with on to determine whether things like guardianship are appropriate, conservatorships, working to make sure that assets are protected. Adult Protective Services, which Mario runs the unit there. Our ombudsman program, which I saw Eileen Bennett on the call today. She is our ombudsman for the county. And what that means is she is there to work with and to advocate for and to help individuals who are in long-term care facilities, nursing homes, that sort of thing, and to advocate and to support individuals there. So if you have a concern about someone that is in a care facility, Eileen Bennett and our team of ombudsmen can be a huge resource and asset, and can also be that trusted, separate person to talk to about issues of concern that you may see going on in one of these long-term care or nursing facilities. Our licensure and regulatory services, and our fire and rescue service. Our fire and rescue service trains its individuals who are oftentimes the first ones on scene, or the first ones to go and to check out what's going on in someone's home, so that they can recognize the signs of elder abuse as well and be ready to address things that they see of concern, and also to bring those concerns to the other agencies within our county government to address them together. We're really fortunate here to have this collaborative relationship. This made a huge difference. The number of cases that we investigate and look at has gone up exponentially over the last 7-8 years since we created our Crimes Against Seniors and Vulnerable Adults Unit, since we enhanced the work that our Elder Vulnerable Adult Abuse Task Force is doing, so that we can have those important conversations, that we can work to protect families, that we can work to protect seniors together. And I would encourage you to reach out to any of these agencies if you have concerns or questions. Our ultimate goal is for safety and security, to hold offenders accountable, and to minimize re-victimization. And what I mean by that is by working together collaboratively, rather than having a senior have to report to Adult Protective Services and then speak to a detective, then speak to someone from my office. We work together so that we can not have to have the individual talk about what happened to them multiple times, which can be traumatizing in and of itself. We want to make this process as smooth as possible, because we know that when someone reports elder abuse, it's already incredibly difficult for that individual. There's so much trauma, shame, embarrassment, concern, health concerns related to that we want to make the process as straightforward as possible and as collaborative as possible. Here's some of our local resources. Again, I've mentioned all of these during the course of our conversation today. And Tova, if you want to send me the link to elder abuse, the number for elder abuse, we can pop that in the chat as well, or in the Q&A answer, if we can accomplish that, or you can send it along and we can put it in there, or put it in the Q&A box, and we'll pop it in there as well so that you can have the links to ElderSafe too. Here are some other helpful websites if you want to get more information. The Federal Trade Commission, the Office of Attorney General, there's the Internet Crime Complaint Center. You can learn more at identitytheft.gov, NomoRobo, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there are lots of other online resources that you can seek additional information. As I said, I put in the links to some of the articles that I relied on to learn more. The National Center for Elder Abuse is an incredible resource and has lots and lots of more detailed information, articles, webinars that you can access all free online to get additional information. You can see my contact information there. You can also call our main line, as I indicated, at 240-777-7300. And ask for a member of our Crimes Against Seniors team, or to ask for Kelly Davis, as I'm going to keep mentioning her name. I know she's on this call again this morning. She really runs the day-to-day of our CASVA team. And I'm appreciative to her for all of her work, and to Dina for all of her work, and to my whole team, who is phenomenal, and to my boss, John McCarthy, for really supporting this effort, and for making us a leader in Montgomery County on issues of elder abuse. We in Montgomery County have been asked to present around the state. Mario has presented numerous times nationally. I've presented nationally. Other members of our team have presented nationally. We've been asked by NAPSA, the National Adult Protective Services Agency, to share our collaborative approach, and to really get out there in front. But we don't rest on our laurels. We need you to help keep spreading the message in Montgomery County about all of these things, about prevention, about education, about continually updating ourselves about what's going on, the scams. On the state's attorney website, we have links, we have information about the scams that are circulating, and we update that regularly to make sure that we're letting people know about the common scams that are going on, and ways that these sort of individuals who are seeking to take advantage of vulnerable people are trying to perpetrate that abuse. And we're, again, just trying to stay out in front of it. But if you see something that we don't know about, or you're not hearing us talk about, let us know. We want to stay on top of things. We want to stay ahead of the game with respect to education and prevention, because it's only through education and prevention and this community collaboration and this community support that we're really going to make a difference in our community and diminish the effects of elder abuse, and to really try to put an end to it the best that we can. I thank you for your time today. I stand ready to answer any questions that came into the Q&A, and I know John is still on the call. He can answer questions as well, and any of my colleagues that are on this panel today.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie. That was fantastic information. And we do have one, I think, really excellent question that I'm sure you can answer. When is it appropriate to contact the state's attorney's office directly versus contacting the police?
There's no right answer to that. You can contact the police, you can contact the state's attorney's office, you can contact Adult Protective Services. We all work together. So a call to any one of these agencies is going to trigger that collective and collaborative response. Like I said, you can call any of those. You can call any of those agencies, and we will work together Adult Protective Services has a 24-hour, ability to answer calls, and so does the Crisis Center through Health and Human Services. So if there is something urgent, and or emergent related to health, call 911. But you can also call Adult Protective Services, and they will do an intake. That intake gets immediately shared with my office in real time on a daily basis. We review those, we collaborate on those. And again, same with the police. When the police start an investigation, my office is notified right away. We have emails that we share, and it's really a testament to the police department that they came on site, that we've engaged in this collaborative work together. And the police department has specialized and trained police officers, detectives, to address elder abuse as well. So we're all working really hard and working hard together. So there isn't a right answer. Reach out to any one of these organizations, and we stand ready to help.
I was going to add, though, if you feel like you are in imminent danger, definitely call 911. If it's a situation of physical abuse and you have concern for your life, you call 911.
Absolutely. I mean, health and safety and urgent, acute situations, call 911. Call 911 every time. And frankly, if you call 911 and they come and it's deemed not to be an emergency, that they say, look, we want to have you follow up with Adult Protective Services, follow up with us as well.
Yeah. As a former non-sworn member of the police department, I can tell you, never be afraid to call 911 and explain your situation. You are not taking up an officer's time unnecessarily. It'll be determined what help you need, and particularly when you need help right away, that's the place to get it. And I just wanted to mention, we've talked today, gotten some really excellent information from our state's attorney, John McCarthy, and now from Debbie Feinstein as well. And it just seems so often that seniors are targeted for crimes, sometimes because of their very generous, friendly natures. And I know Debbie emphasized the fact that you must not feel embarrassed. You must not feel ashamed. It's not just seniors that are targeted for scams and abuse. It's all age groups. But seniors may be particularly concerned about reporting it. I think so many people are familiar with the situation. It takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village to keep our seniors safe. And we have in Montgomery County a very strong village for you to lean on. And Debbie reiterated how many organizations in this county are available to help you, from the state's attorney's office, to the police department, to the county attorney, to Adult Protective Services, the Ombudsman's Program, licensure and regulation services, and the Fire and Rescue Service. So there is no reason to be alone, no reason to have fear. There is help out there for you. So many people ready and able to give it.
And I'm looking at the Q&A right now, which I think all of our participants can see. Tova and Sydney, who is also with the Elder Safe Center, put their information in the Q&A, and I would encourage you to keep that information as well. And the other thing that I would mention in this, Sydney's answer reminded me of that, is that even if English is not the first language in your household or with your family members or community members, we can have conversations in multiple languages and use the language line if needed. But as was mentioned before, Dina gave a presentation on Monday in Spanish. We're really trying to do outreach to communities where English is not the first language. We've also given presentations in, I believe, in Chinese, and I know that there's a couple of other languages that we've done presentations in as well. But we're able to do that too. So if your community, your religious organization, your community group, your senior center group does not have English as the first language, we are happy to provide presentations in other languages as well, and provide materials. We have our materials translated into lots of different languages, and the National Center for Elder Abuse has multiple languages, the Red Flags of Abuse flyer and data in multiple languages there as well. So I wanted to just be sure to note that as well. So, so are there other questions, Lucille?
Yes, we have another one that has come in here. Do you need an attorney to review a will? If not, what avenue should be taken?
So technically, no, You do not need an attorney to review a will. You can actually, anyone can create their own will. But it's certainly helpful to have an attorney or someone that, that knows the ins and outs of a will. But at the very least, to have others, that you trust review the will and make sure that, that you're getting everything in there in a way that makes sense and is, going to protect you and your assets and your family. An attorney can certainly be helpful for that. That's not the kind of attorney that I am or the kind of work that I do, but particularly for individuals that have a lot of financial pieces that they want to sort of figure out and set up for the future. There are attorneys that specialize that can definitely be very helpful, but you can also find a will online, a template, and do your own will. If you don't have a will, I would encourage you to move on that right away and to get it notarized and to keep it, multiple copies in safe places and with trusted people.
Right. And I was just going to mention for anyone who isn't able to view the Q&A for whatever reason, the Elder Safe Center helpline is 301-816-5099. That's 301-816-5099. And of course, they provide temporary shelter. They provide all sorts of educational outreaches and advocacy. So a good number to have.
And I would also just sort of as a final word note, and that, harken back to the beginning of this presentation this morning, that the presentation is being recorded. I would encourage you to, use this if you want to, or have us come live or re-engage, or do another webinar, another presentation. One of the things that we've been doing during the pandemic is when we've had a recorded session is that we've had the recording play for in the future, and then do a monitored live chat. So that's an option as well. If you want to get the same content, but we can always do a monitored live chat as well. John, I see your video turned on. Did you have something else that you wanted to add before we closed out? Oh, you're on mute.
I didn't have anything to add. I just want to say you did a great job. I'm impressed.
Thanks, John.
Great team.
So, well, thank you again to John for all of his support, and thank you to all of you for tuning in this morning. You are in for a treat. I know Mario is going to do a formal introduction of Cheryl Kravitz, who is up next, but she's incredible trauma-informed partner in all of this work, and bringing her unique skills and abilities to helping support our senior community and frankly all of us in keeping our health and well-being in tip-top shape. So I know Mario is going to do a more formal introduction, but thank you again, and it's been wonderful to have the opportunity to talk with you this morning.
And thank you so much, particularly John McCarthy, Debbie Feinstein, representing our state's attorney's office, who has shown time and time again a commitment to our seniors and doing the best for our community. And just to show you one more time, we are going to have, again, one more event on Friday. It is the Red Flags of Abuse, and the number that the web address that you can click on is right there. Debbie had also highlighted this. With each of our presentations, we also provide some opportunity for physical activity. And so now that we've had all this great information, we're going to get some great physical activity coming up. And Mario, I'll hand it over to you to introduce that.
Thank you, Lucille. I did put Friday's Zoom link in the Q&A. So that link is available, or you could sign up on Eventbrite as you did for this event at weadd2021mc eventbrite.com. And just once again, thank you, John McCarthy, for your trailblazing work in serving our seniors community and all the outreach that you and your team do, protecting our seniors. And Debbie, we are just delighted that you are the chair of the Montgomery County Elder Vulnerable Adult Abuse Task Force. We've moved forward. We meet regularly. We protect our seniors and prosecute when it's appropriate. And the the daily relationship we have with law enforcement is in large part due to your leadership, that of Kelly Davis, and the rest of the team. Okay, it is my great pleasure now to introduce Cheryl Kravitz, who is a certified yoga instructor with an additional certification in trauma-informed yoga. She's a graduate of Willow Street Yoga Teacher Training Program and is a certified diversity and inclusion trainer. Additionally, she is a marketing and communication consultant and a freelance writer with extensive publications both locally and nationally about the positive impact of yoga on the individual and the community. Cheryl, the mat is yours.
Okay, except we're not going to be on a mat. No, you don't have to leave your chairs. We're going to have a great time stretching, releasing any tension that any one of us is holding, and learning a little bit about the importance of breathing. I really thank you, Mario, and John, and Debbie, Lucille, for inviting me today. And I want to give a special shout out to ElderSafe. I do some work with them, teaching yoga to individuals who have suffered from elder abuse. And it's been really heartening to see how yoga can help them. Yoga is for, we like to say, everybody and everybody. Doesn't matter. Are we going to go into a handstand? No. Are we going to go into a downward dog? No. What we're doing is seated yoga. Yoga is a word that in Sanskrit actually means to connect. And that's a great description because it means to connect your body, your mind, and your breath. Everything working together can help us not only relax, but I have learned, as Mario mentioned, I'm certified by the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation as one of the certifications. And we have learned through a lot of great research through the Mayo Clinic and UCLA, etc., that there are types of yoga and yoga mantras that can actually prevent Alzheimer's. What? Yes. So I encourage you to go on their website as well, Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation, and learn about what's called the Kirtan Kriya, which will help. It releases the places in your brain where plaque and tangles form, and those are the things that are the precursors for Alzheimer's. So let's start. Take a good seat. I am going to do this seated. Every yoga class begins with a settling, just to feel yourself relax. And that's what we're going to do right now. If it's comfortable for you, close your eyes. If that's not comfortable, don't do it. Keep your eyes open. It's all up to you. It's your body. Just start to breathe in. Breathe in for 3. Hold and then exhale for 3. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. I like to think we're inhaling comfort and peace and exhaling any anxiety that we might be holding. I open all of my yoga classes in the same way, and we're going to do this. We will say Om, I'm sure you've heard that before, but also there is a wonderful Native American tradition that I've read about and studied, and I just love this. This is how we're going to open. I would like you to bring your left palm to your heart and put your right palm on top of it. The left hand is representing bringing compassion straight to your heart, and that compassion is for yourself and for anybody who needs it right now. The hand on top is adding warmth through both hands, and that warmth, they say in Native American tradition, is melting anything icy and cold that might have surrounded your heart that just needs to be melted. Press in. And at this time, if you want, you can set what we call in yoga your sankalpa. Your sankalpa is your intention. You can do it for the day. It's 3 or 4 words. It's about you, and it's positive, and it's in the present. It might be something like, I am happy, I am strong, I am here for you. Something like that. Just say it to yourself. And now bring both palms together in what we call Anjali Mudra at your heart, and we'll open with the sound of one Om. Breathe in. Om. And slowly bow into your heart and lift your head and open your eyes. The first thing we're going to do, this is going to be so silly, and those of you who are with other people in a room, you're going to all do this together. Really, I'm doing it. We're all doing it. This is called bee breath, B-E-E, like the bug. Not cicada breath, bee breath. And what this does, the humming sound that we're going to do, is going to help kind of clear things in your brain. It gets rid of tension. And believe it or not, it's something to cure insomnia. Look it up if you want. Bee breath. You're in a good seat. Your pointer finger and your middle finger are going to go behind the cartilage of your ears. And now, watch this. You're going to bring your ears forward towards your face. And yes, indeed, we're going to hum like bees. If anybody is around you and not in the room, they're going to wonder what's going on. It's okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And let it go. Can you feel those reverberations? Oh my goodness. We're going to do it one more time. Bring your ears towards your face. And now hum like a bee. I know, we look silly. It's okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And let it go. I volunteer with a group that works with survivors of abuse. And this is their favorite thing to do because it helps relax them and clear them. Just saying. You do not have to do this if you go to Giant. You can do it in your own home. Okay, let's do some neck and head stretches, so shoulder stretches to release any tension. I don't know about you, but I get tension in my neck. Let's start doing that. You're going to mirror me. Bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. You don't have to hit the ear to your shoulder, just as far as it'll go. Stretching the right side of your neck. Feels good. Come back to center. Bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Do you hear little clicks in your head? I do. That's fine. It's perfectly normal. It's actually releasing some of that tension. Come back to center. Bend your head towards your heart. Feel the stretch in the back of your neck. This should feel good. You might even feel it going all the way down to your spinal cord. Head back to center. And now look up towards the ceiling and feel the stretch of your throat. We hold a lot of tension there. Stretching it out is a good thing. Come back to center. Pretend we're pretending a lot. Pretend that there's a piece of chalk at the end of your nose and you have a blackboard in front. We're going to draw figure eights with our nose. I really hear the click-clacks here. It's okay. You can go as wide or as narrow as you want, but just release your neck. Oh, that feels good. Do it again. And now go the other way. Feel that release. Come back to center. The next thing we're going to do is, again, stretching out our neck and our arms. I'm going to move back just a little bit so you can see me. Bring your left arm out to the side. If there's somebody sitting next to you, maybe just bring it a little, just watch each other as you do this. And now you're going to point your fingers towards the back of the room. And now bring your arm towards the back of the room. as you bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. You're controlling how far you go. This is a magnificent stretch. And hold it. Somebody asked me once if yoga was about stretching or strengthening, and the answer is yes. And now bring your arm back, shake it out, and now bring your right arm out to the side. Turn your fingers so they're pointed towards the back of the room, and now bring your left ear towards your left shoulder and bring your arm back. Again, you're controlling this. Feel that stretch. And now very slowly, come on back. Shake it out. Bring your arms straight up towards the ceiling, high as you can stretch them. And now bring your palms so that they face down towards the floor. And if you want, you can bring your hands behind you and clasp them and bend forward. You don't have to do this part. You can stay right here. And now very slowly, come on up. Hold on to the edge of your chair with your right hand. And now bring your left hand up and have your palm face the ceiling, and now arc it over so that your upper arm is in line with your ear, and stretch. You can groan if you want, and bring it back. Point your right hand towards the ceiling and arc it over so that your upper arm is in line with your ear, and stretch it up, arcing it over. Sometimes I like to sound like a pirate, it's fine. And then bring it back down. Take your hands, put them on your knees. We can do downward dog seated, and just curl in, looking at your stomach. And now bring your head forward, looking up, arching your back, and feeling your heart open. Let's do that one more time. Palms are on your thighs or your knees, looking in, bending forward. Feel that release of your back. And now bring your head forward, look up at the ceiling, and open your heart. And then come on back. The next thing I'd like to do, this is a progressive relaxation of your muscle groups, and it's kind of fun. You're going to feel the tension. You're going to be able to isolate each group of muscles and then relax them. And as we go through this, you're going to notice the places where you hold a lot of tension. It really helps. And I suggest this is another one to do just when you're feeling some anxiety. It helps the release. So first, let's inhale and exhale, maybe 3 or 4 times. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. We're going to combine breathing with the muscle release. First thing I'd like you to do, and if you have shoes on, take them off. It's okay. It's okay. Fine. Bring your attention only to your feet. It's possible. Pretend that you're putting on shoes that are too small. You know that feeling? What I'd like you to do is clench in your toes and tighten the sides of your feet on the inhale. 1, 2, 3, inhale and tighten just your feet. Tighten, tighten, tighten. And then exhale and let them go. Here we go again. Inhale, tighten only your toes, curl them in, Tighten the sides of your feet. You can feel that. Tighten, 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 tighten. Exhale. And let them go. Bring your attention to your lower legs, your calves. Pretend you're putting on knee-high boots and you want to get into them. Tighten only your lower leg muscles on the inhale. Inhale. Tighten just your lower legs. You can do it. Tighten, 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 tighten. Exhale. And let it go. Let's do it one more time. Bring your attention to your lower legs. Inhale and tighten those muscles, just your lower legs. And now exhale and let it go. Moving up. Our thigh muscles. Separate out your thigh muscles. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Tighten just the muscles of your thighs. And now exhale and let them go. Let's do it again. Inhale and tighten only the muscles of your thighs. Isn't it interesting how we can do this? Just your thigh muscles. And exhale and let it go. We're moving up. Sometimes when I'm feeling tense, I feel tension in my abdomen, my stomach. You know what that feels like, I'm sure. We've all had it. This time, we're going to focus our attention on our abdomen purposefully. Inhale and bring your abdomen in, tighten it. This is also what you do if you're putting on too tight pants. Just say, inhale, hold it in. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. And let it go. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Tighten the muscles of your abdomen. Put your hands there. You can feel it. Just tighten in. And exhale. And let it go. We're going to do our hands next. One of the things I learned working with people who have experienced trauma is a marker is clenched hands. It's one of the reasons, also, I'll never say, make a fist. No, clench your hands. I have noticed when teaching that if somebody is nervous, upset about something, this is one of the first things they do. We're going to do this on purpose, but then we're going to open our hands. So 1, 2, 3, inhale and bring your fingers in, thumb on top. Clenching, you can almost feel that anxiety, tension building. And now exhale and very, very, very slowly, almost like a flower opening, open your hands. Rub them together. Let's do this again. Bring your hands out. Bring your fingers in, thumb on top. Tighten on the inhale. And now exhale and slowly open them up and rub them together. When I do this, it almost feels like I'm ready to take a nap. Next one, anybody ever watch Popeye? Okay, you know this one. Popeye arms. Bring your attention to your arms. Every part, biceps, forearms, everything. Tighten it on the inhale. 1, 2, 3, tighten, tighten, tighten. Show me your muscles. I can't see them. Show them to me. I'll pretend I see them. Big muscles like Popeye. Exhale. And let them go. Shake them. Once again. Popeye arms. Ready? Inhale. Biceps, triceps, forearms. Tighten them. Make a noise if you want, and exhale. And let them go. You're seated. We're going to, this time, Inhale, bring your shoulders towards your ears. And now bring them towards the back, towards your shoulder blades, and tighten them. Ooh, inhale. And then exhale. And let it go. Let's do that again. Inhale. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Bring them towards the back. And tighten them. And exhale. And let them go. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. Bring your attention to your entire back. You don't have to raise your shoulders up this time, but this time just bring your arms back and your shoulder blades as close together as you can get them. If they touch, good for you. Mine don't. Inhale. And exhale. And let them go. And let's do this again. Bring your shoulders back. Inhaling, trying to touch your shoulder blades. And now exhale. And let them go. Next, we're going to your neck. You can do it. Inhale and tighten the muscles of your neck. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling it in the back of my neck. Hold. Exhale. And let it go. Bend your head forward. Let's do it again. Inhale and tighten the muscles of your neck. Just your back of your neck. Oh my gosh. Exhale. And let it go. This last one's actually my favorite. Do you remember when you were growing up, maybe this didn't happen to you, it certainly happened to me, when an adult would say to you, don't make that face. That face is going to freeze that way and you're going to have that face forever. We are making that face. Inhale. You're smelling something off, whatever it is. Make the face. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. And let it go. Wasn't that fun? Okay, let's do it again. Inhale. Make the face. Ooh. Look at the people around you. Make the face. I can tell you it's going to freeze that way. And exhale. And let it go. Maybe smile. Maybe smile. And now, full body, just tense everything. If we were inside a yoga studio, one of the things that I do for this last one is I ask all my students to have a tantrum, to pretend I'm their babysitter, we're in Target, and they want candy, and I said no. That way. Hold it all. Tighten everything. You're having a tantrum, man. You can even go like this if you want to tighten, 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 tighten. Exhale. And let it go. And let's do it again. We've gone to the toy aisle now. And you want a toy. And I said no. So you're mad. Tighten everything. Inhale. And exhale. And let it go. I have had students literally pound the floor and cry just so I would get them a toy. No. Breathe in and breathe out. Should feel pretty relaxed. Breathing in and out. There's a beautiful mantra that I would like to talk to you about right now. It's years and years and years and years old, but it is so meaningful. Breathe in and out. If you want, close your eyes. You don't have to. You should feel pretty relaxed. Bring your right arm or hand to your heart and your left on top as I say this. If you don't want to do that, you can keep your hands on your knees. May I be free from inner and outer harm and danger. May I be safe and protected. May I be free of mental suffering or distress. May I be happy. May I be free of physical pain and suffering. May I be healthy and may I be strong. May I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May all beings in existence be safe, happy, healthy, and living joyously. May I be safe from harm. May I be happy just as I am. May I be peaceful with what's happening. May I be healthy and may I be strong. May I care for myself in this ever-changing world graciously and joyously. May all beings in the air, on land, and in the water be safe, happy, healthy, and free from suffering. Press into your heart, bringing compassion for yourself and for every living being. Press in with both hands. Add warmth to melt anything icy or cold that no longer serves you. And now once again, bring both palms together in Anjali Mudra, and we'll close with the sound of Om. Breathe in. Om. Drop your hands and open your eyes. One last thing I want to say. One universe, 8 planets, 204 countries, 809 islands, 7 seas, and 6 billion people. And I had the incredible privilege of doing yoga with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was utterly wonderful, and really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise. And I hope I'm sure everyone else feels a lot more de-stressed and relaxed and centered. So terrific. It's a terrific way to end our forum for today. Look forward to folks. We put in the Q&A the link, or you can go to Eventbrite. Thank you once again, and everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.